Hey everybody, welcome to, I have no clue what episode we're on at this point. It's been like 2 months. I'm gonna go ahead and say 6. I think that sounds right. So episode 6 of the Highly Human podcast. I'm your host David, and with us we have Michael
Uh,
and Jared.
Hello.
Alright guys, so first topic of the night that I've been thinking about for a bit. It's 2019. New year, new me. Is anything interesting happened this year to you guys?
Let's see. I got accepted to an engineering college. I have an internship lined up for engineering. I don't know, a lot of engineering.
What about you, Jared?
I mean, I've been getting into a lot of more film stuff lately, so that's kind of new. Like actually working with cameras and shit, like learning about them.
Like internship stuff or just class stuff so far?
It's class stuff, but I'll probably end up doing an internship next semester.
Weren't you doing work at like behind the scenes, working on sets, I think? That was a while ago, but I remember that being a part
I mean,
of the
that was just
conversation.
like a temporary thing, but I help like other people with this stuff, every now and then.
Right.
But that's just like small stuff.
Alright, so 2019 sounds pretty solid for us, but it's been pretty shitty for a lot of other people. Like Liam Neeson. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I think, I mean, did you hear the whole story?
I did. Listen to the
Like, he
audio
regrets
recording.
it.
He
It was
does.
obviously fucked up, but he regrets what he did, and he acknowledges that it wasn't right. So it's like, at least there's that.
It's very interesting reading Twitter when stuff like that comes around, and how selective the quotes are.
Yeah, like, when that story first came out on Twitter, it was like all just like, it didn't even mention that part. It was all just
Yeah.
about how he was like, I'm gonna go beat black people.
And it's like, I guess there are worse hobbies to have, but I can definitely see how that didn't sit well. Even though I can't imagine ever thinking that I would share that part of my history openly. So the fact that you did either shows stupidity or desire for, I guess, discourse, or both.
Yeah.
I'm okay with saying that I was amused by it, reading it, and the tumultuous comments about it. That was fun. So I appreciate it, Liam Neeson, for making my Sunday afternoon interesting. Alright, Michael, since talking about racism, I want to know, what's your most violent racist thought that you suppressed for years?
I gotta think now. Shit.
I was talking to Anthony about this earlier, and there was that one Indian dude you thought was going to give you diabetes.
I
Gave you a
don't
free
remember
donut.
this.
You went to Dunkin' Donuts, the Indian dude at the counter gave you a free donut. You came back later and said, I think that Indian guy's trying to kill me with your diabetes.
Don't remember this. I remember getting a donut. I don't remember saying that though. What the fuck was that?
I want to perpetuate the fact that you said it, for the sake of my argument.
Okay. It probably would have something to do with.
You know, when I asked that question, I immediately realized that I probably didn't want to have an answer, so that's going to get cut out. Because I think part of 2019 means we take this more seriously, and we're going to get ads, guys.
And don't
Right.
ask stupid questions like that.
Oh, yeah.
We're on YouTube now. We have a different set of rules. We can't be on SoundCloud anymore with the older SoundCloud rules. So who knows what's going to happen. We lost Guam Guy as a result of that. So that's kind of a consequence, but maybe there's a lot more people from Guam on YouTube than on SoundCloud. I'm trying to pull up something on my phone. Oh yeah, Steven sent in scat porn to your Snapchat group. How did that go?
That was,
Steven sent.
I mean,
which one was
honestly, okay.
Austin sent the scat
life,
porn.
At this point in my life, I've seen almost everything on the internet to where nothing phases.
Mhm.
So I kind of just saw this and I was like, I know what's happening. Because, like, the video starts and it's just like a dude's butthole hovering over this lady's open mouth. And it's like, oh
that
lord.
thing. I'm still traumatized by that actually.
And then, like, I mean, how detailed do you want me to be?
I mean, you know, we'll figure it out.
Like,
Go nuts.
the, like, most ungodly of, like, creamy, like, orange brown poop, like, comes out of this man. Like,
Mhm.
more poop, I guarantee you, than you've ever pooped in your life. Like, there's no way this is natural. Like, this dude had to have done something on purpose, or was, like, sick. But,
Did Austin
It's
preface
horrible.
sending that at all?
All he did
Was it-
was he sent it, and all he said was like, "I had to see it, so now you do too," or some shit like that. You know?
That's a very dangerous set of logic to have.
I mean,
I
you know,
associated that with Steven, because that sounds like the
Like
sort
a
of,
Steven thing, yes.
sort of depravity he would engage with. But I guess Austin's kind of adjacent to depravity, so.
well, I mean, I feel like Austin just saw it on Twitter, like on accident. But I mean, who fucking cares? Like, other people shit in other people's mouths every day, and the world spins. You know?
True, but
Like right now, somebody is shitting in another person's mouth, and the world's still
Yes,
spinning.
but I don't need to see that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, gotta learn about the world somehow. It's like reading an encyclopedia, except with scat porn. Now you know more about the world. Maybe you know more about yourself too. That's entirely
I don't
possible.
think I know anything about myself.
That's
You
why you're in
didn't
podcast.
learn anything? Yeah. Did you learn anything from watching that? Did you realize that maybe you need to be more confident? Maybe you want what he had, where someone was that comfortable. You never had
To just poop.
some that close.
Get
Yeah.
to poop in somebody's mouth. I don't
Mhm.
know if I've ever had the desire to poop in anybody's mouth. I can't say that I have. I've never had, honestly, to be
But something
honest.
adjacent to that. You know,
I've never
something
had
that's
any urges to do any sort of defecation or, you know, something along that line on anybody. I
But you
remember
want
when
that
I
sort
was
of trust.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I would want somebody so devoted to me that they would literally be willing to, like, willingly and, like, eagerly let me shit in their mouth. Like, that sounds like she's insane. Or whoever, yeah.
It's
Like,
2019.
that's-
Anything's possible.
That's very true, but still, like, that doesn't mean I want it to be possible.
Never say no, or never say never. I suppose. You should be
Never
able to say
say
no.
If you say no, then how can you get raped? You know?
What about you, Michael? Do you want that kind of relationship with anybody?
That they'll let me shit in their mouth? No. If someone is like, I want you to shit in my mouth, I'd be like, you are too fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You guys have too high of standards, I think. I don't think it was. Who do you think initiated that in that video? Did the guy want to do it, or did the girl ask for it?
I don't
Guy.
know. It looks like
Definitely
both
guy.
of them were pretty into it.
But whose idea was it, do you think? You had to bet. Just using what
Guy.
you know about traditional gender roles, who's more likely to come up with that sort of.
That was
Plan.
definitely the guy, just because at the beginning the girl turned her head away and it looked like the guy straight up said, open your fucking mouth kind of deal.
That was a detail that was omitted from the original conversation. Not sure if I'm better or worse for having heard it. That was a pretty
Did you
solid
guys
start
hear?
to 2019, at least.
Did you guys hear about what happened in Virginia?
Mm.
So this isn't. I loosely remember what happened. Like drugs and just
Yeah.
time. So my teacher was telling us, and he's like, so like the first three people, like the governor, the lieutenant governor, and like the next guy in line to be the governor in case anything happens. Like the governor had to step down because like they had found
Oh, yeah, that
stuff.
shit.
Like they
Yeah,
had
he was, like,
found he had done
blackface and shit.
blackface and like KKK at like a party or some shit. Then the second one has like sexual harassment allegations against him, and then the third guy, he just comes out and he's like, "Yeah, so I did blackface." But like the way he did it is like he did blackface in like a Michael Jackson impersonation contest.
Mm.
And they're like, "Why did you do a Michael Jackson impersonation contest?" And he's like, "Well, I had learned to moonwalk the other week." And like, he's like, "I won the contest." And they're like, "Can you moonwalk right now?" And he fucking literally, at the press conference, started looking around for a place to start moonwalking.
God.
And his wife had to stop him and been like, "This is not an appropriate time to moonwalk."
I mean, somebody asked. You have an audience. You gotta do it for the fans.
Do it for
David,
the
you're in my
fans.
game, right?
I am just on the home planet.
We have 3,300 bytes. What should we research?
Very good question. For my sake, and without your consent, I'm gonna go ahead and get a tractor.
That's fine. I was gonna say I'm gonna get a buggy or a tractor.
David,
But I
So
built
I
the
found
tractor
a shit ton of hematite.
in Nice. I built a tractor in my game, but couldn't use it. It's very small, so I think I'm also gonna research trailer and do that.
Okay. I would also suggest if you're gonna do the trailer to get, I don't know if we have enough for it, but let me see. I think it's like small storage or something like that.
We should have built medium storage already, but I'll look into it. All right, so that was Virginia. I guess blackface wasn't more acceptable. I guess more acceptable is loose, but it was still not a great thing then, right?
Yeah.
Even
I
most
I
communities.
just like I don't know. I don't know what comes over these people to make them think at any point blackface is like a thing that you can do. Like there's like such a tiny window when blackface works and it's tasteful, or it's just like it's funny. Like it works in like Tropic Thunder where it's like Robert Downey Jr., but it only works if you understand all the layers, you know?
Yeah,
And then like it works in Always Sunny because they have episodes where there's blackface, but like you have to understand that you're not supposed to be rooting for their characters. You know, you're supposed to be like that's a piece of shit. They're doing blackface to do like Lethal Weapon 6. You know, so there's like a tiny window where you're gonna operate with blackface, but you know.
are you okay with that window getting smaller as the years go by?
I
Especially
mean,
in the year of our Lord 2019.
I don't think. I mean, it's just like it takes a real smart person to figure out how to implement blackface comedically, or worth into a story that's like worthwhile, and almost to the point where it's just like not worth the effort. There's so many other stories you could tell that's just like it doesn't even have to involve blackface, you know. But like
Yeah.
sometimes it can be like a funny thing to add to show like this person's a piece of shit. But at the end of the day, people are still kind of like laughing at the blackface, no matter what. So
Yeah, I think certain people are definitely laughing at the blackface that don't understand the root of the joke,
yeah,
and so that's kind of problematic. And then the question becomes in certain communities whether or not you should even try to make a joke that isn't directly about the blackface if people are just gonna laugh at the blackface anyway. Do you have that sort of responsibility as a creator to nip that in the bud, despite the fact that you're doing it quote unquote tastefully?
I don't know. I think that's like, uh, I mean, the point of a comedian usually is to find the bar and like push it. But there's some areas where it's just like it's better left alone. And like, I mean, I don't think anybody who's creating things has a responsibility to like. I mean, at some level there is some responsibility. Like, you can't just. Obviously, no one wants someone to go out there and just be like, go kill people, be a terrorist, some shit like that. But like, when it comes to just making media and like entertainment, it's down to like the consumer to like control what they're like viewing and shit, you know?
Mm.
Like, and like same thing with like kids. If you don't like what your kid is watching, like don't let them watch it, Just turn it off, take it away. Like people always complained about SpongeBob and like all those other shows, but it's like just don't let them watch it, and it's like not even that bad.
Who complains about SpongeBob?
Lots of Christian people, because like there's a lot of like gay like undertones and
Um,
like just in general like plot lines that they disagree with, and just
that's
things. I don't know. Parents will find
interesting.
reasons to complain about anything.
Speaking about controlling media, did you guys hear about the proposed 10% tax on violent video games in Pennsylvania?
So like
Yep,
what
and that is why you should
Well-
never go to Pennsylvania.
what constitutes as a violent video game? Like
I would assume
This-
that sure. That's my guess.
So-
At least. I have the article here, but
Well, like, what about Madden? Like, is football violent? That's a game.
What about
Football's in
Mario?
it.
Is Mario violent?
Yeah.
well,
You
see,
stomp on people. Like,
article says here revenue raised from this tax on M or AO rated video games. So M being mature and adult only, which is very rarely seen anywhere. So I just think that's very interesting. Mostly because it keeps on coming back to this every so often, and it just kind of cycles through.
yeah.
But has there ever been a moment where violence in media has actually made you cringe back a bit that you can think of?
Like, what do you mean?
So let's say, because you can play Mortal Kombat. Because I remember going over to your place, Jared, and playing Mortal Kombat X when a few weeks after it came out, and we just
Yeah.
have a good time trying to do all the fatalities, despite the fact that it's, I know, comically gory, but still gory in terms of cutting faces off or going through the chest and grabbing the heart, yada yada, all that Mortal Kombat goodness that's been established since the 90s. But then there's, when I was a kid, when I was playing, my dad had a PS2 game I probably shouldn't have been playing, but played anyway, called Soldier of Fortune. And it was just this cop shooter game where you had to go around killing
Yeah.
drug dealers and their limbs would come off. And it was just like, oh, I probably should be playing this. But I played it for like a solid hour. I was like, I wonder if that had any long-lasting effects. It definitely stuck with me as weird, but as I got older, the weird stuff just stopped happening. And so I'm curious to see if there's ever been, especially recently, I think if there's anything recently, it'd be interesting, of just like violence that phased you. I was like, I was not expecting that.
I mean, I don't really know. Like, I can't. I only remember. I remember watching my dad play like games as a kid, and they could get pretty like violent or like scary, and like I would be like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Like I can't handle this anymore. But I was like young. Like I was probably like 6, 5. Like, because however, shit. Whenever Fallout 3 came out, I would have been like 9 or 10 or something like that. And I remember my dad playing it, and I remember watching him and just like not understanding it at all, and just like being like, what the fuck? But you know, I think I remember like watching or like turning on like when I was a really little kid, like turning on the TV at night and like Chucky or something being on, like one of those movies, and like just standing there and like watching some shit go down for like a solid like 10 minutes and just feeling like, all right, I'm dead. I'm gonna die. There's just like Chucky's gonna kill, you know. I don't know. Like I can't really pinpoint. There became a point where like violence doesn't really faze me that much anymore because it's just like whatever. Like you know. I mean, obviously in real life it's different, but like on the internet and in movies and TV, it's just like you know.
It's
I
it's
remember.
very deliberate.
Yeah, like the last time I was surprised by like some kind of like gore or some violence in a TV show was Daredevil season 1 when like Wilson Fisk smashes a guy's head like in a car door like to death. And like I didn't see that coming because I didn't think they were gonna go that dark with like a Marvel thing. But like in all things considered, it's nowhere near as like you know gory and violent as like it can get. But just compared to
Yeah.
like anything Marvel had done up until that point. Like that's why it surprised me.
So even like the violence itself is just the violence that you're familiar with in other contexts, but in that particular context, it kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, because it was like, I mean, people had died in like, you know, Marvel movies, but no one had been like, here's his head being crushed in a car door with like sound effects of his skull like crunching, and then like, you know, blood and shit. And it was like, you know, the Wilson Fisk, like the Kingpin got really fucking pissed, and it was like good, you know, just like a good scene.
We were talking about The Raid briefly earlier, and I think that movie is a very violent movie, both the first one and the second one, but in a very entertaining way, since it was a martial arts movie, but also just brutal in ways that I didn't really expect. In the second one, two characters that were pretty essential to it were, I don't know if they actually had real names, but online they refer to Hammer Girl and Baseball Bat Guy, because one uses 2 hammers and one uses a baseball bat. And Hammer Girl, I was like, oh, she's gonna go around just smack people's heads in with a hammer. But I'm surprised it never occurred to me, but you could just use the back pointy ends that are used for pulling out the nail, jam it in, pull, and then pull out again to make a huge gash with that. And she was just doing that over and over and over throughout like 15 minutes of the entire movie. It's like, man,
Jesus.
that was brutal. But it was fun. It was really entertaining. It was clever. It was just
Yeah.
violence in a way that was creative and supposed to illustrate something to the medium and the intensity of it, while also just being fun to watch in a really weird way.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel weird saying stuff like that and enjoying horror and violent movies because I find it entertaining, but I would never say that in most other contexts around people that aren't you guys, because I feel like it's just a weird thing to illustrate, to say I like John Wick or I like The Raid, because it does violence in a really creative way.
I mean, I don't think that's a really weird thing. Some people
think
might
you
not
do.
really understand what you're talking about. I guess it
Yeah.
just depends on like the people you're talking to. Because like most people like John Wick, and it's like a pretty like recognizable thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think, and I think if you brought it up and been, I guess it also depends on how you like word it. You
Mm,
could say like, oh, the fight choreography in that game, or I mean that movie is really good. Like, there's a lot of time and effort put into like every move that everybody does, and like everything flows really well. So
yeah.
it's not like I like watching people get beat up. It just sounds more like, oh, it's like a technical achievement and it looks pretty. Less than like, I like the violence and more of like I appreciate the effort.
Well, I do
I
definitely
like
appreciate the effort. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I like the thing where someone was like John Wick, the only guy who would actually reload during a fight.
Mm,
Yeah.
details like that make a movie more fun.
And then there's
Still,
like, and it depends on how you do it. Because like there's the Kingsman Church scene, which is also pretty violent, but it's just like with the like music and all that, it just works. It's really good.
yeah. I'm trying to. You can. It's definitely a very intentional choice to be a certain intensity of violence, though, right? For sure. Someone has to sit down and say, I want this amount of blood, or I want to do this amount of. I want to illustrate this amount of pain on this fictional character to illustrate this kind of effect to the audience. And so there has to be something going on in that creator's mind that says, this amount of violence seems appropriate. And I'm curious to see what the process is for people like the fight choreographers in The Raid or John Wick, or even writers like Stephen King who just have really weird, demented stuff that goes on in their horror novels and movies and stuff like that. And see, I wonder what the root for that sort of thing is. Most people don't have that. Would you guys be less likely to buy M-rated games if they actually had a 10% tax on it?
I mean, I don't think so.
It would just
I
be
don't
more of a
buy.
nuisance.
Yeah, like
Mm,
I don't buy games that frequently, or it would be that big of a deal. I think I would just maybe go buy my game elsewhere.
right.
Like, would the tax still apply if I bought it on Amazon or something?
Honestly, that's a good question. I wouldn't think so.
Because
I'd imagine
does
that
that
if
only?
you're, since Amazon's international, I imagine that it'd have to be a very local thing in the state that just places that tax on the retailers as opposed to digital storefronts. So I think Steam and Amazon would be okay, for sure.
Yeah, because I just download everything now, anyways.
Right.
I still find it funny when you go to you go on Xbox or whatever, and it's like this is how much it's gonna cost plus applicable tax, and it's like what you see is literally how much it's costing you. Like that is how much I'm getting charged. So I'm like, what? Where's the tax that's talking about?
Mm.
Omar,
Oh yeah, Omar's a little bitch. Fucking last
What
week
did he do?
he's saying, "Hey David, you wanna?" We proposed the idea of hanging out, cooking Blue Apron, and then watching the first three Fast and Furious movies, 1, 2, Tokyo Drift, on Netflix. And I was like, sure, sounds like fun. And apparently, according to Anthony, he was on Xbox telling Anthony about this for a bit. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to David's, we're gonna cook Blue Apron, and then he flaked on Friday. It's like, yeah, I gotta go check out an apartment. It's a good excuse.
So-
I'm making fun of Omar
sounds
for
like
no
Omar.
good reason. Yeah, but I just less so than being angry, but more so finding it funny that this is such an Omar move to
yeah,
make plans and then talk about those plans and then not do those plans.
yeah.
I just found it really amusing and also enjoy making fun of Omar. It used to be,
Epic
I used to
Omar
make fun of Jared a decent amount, but I moved on to Omar. He's an easier target. More vulnerabilities. Younger,
Weaker,
weaker,
less bone strength.
less bone strength, less muscle density, less more hopeful, and hopeful when you break. But yeah,
It's time to bully Omar.
Michael, what spurred you to buying Astroneer?
Wait, what?
Why did you want to buy Astroneer? What kind of prompted that decision?
I watched what's it called? I watched the Insider Xbox thing, and they're like, Astroneer is gonna be going gold. It's gonna finally be coming out a game preview, and I'm like, really? I'm like, I put the trial on, it was fun, and I looked at it, and it's like it's on sale. I'm like, fuck it, it's like $23. That was pretty much it.
Okay. This is a
But
very...
You seem like you enjoy it, so I'm guessing
do.
it's a good buy.
It's totally fine. I just think this is a type of game that's been happening more and more recently for sure, right?
I don't follow.
The no real direction other than the direction you impose upon yourself with
Oh no,
obstacles
David,
and
there's an actual fucking like story to this. I looked it up and I was like, wait, what? Like there's an actual like linear thing that you have to do in this game supposedly, and I have no idea how the fuck to do it. I just saw it was like, yeah, this is the end of Astroneer right here, and I'm like, legitimately want to find out how to get to that by myself. I don't want to look that up actually, which is very surprising for me.
You know what I mean, though, right? The whole open
Oh yeah.
world building. I'm thinking I'm gonna start from the most narrow and then branch out a bit. We have this game, Astroneer, and then not Fallout 76 and No Man's Sky, both being very similar for their procedural world gen and polygonal aesthetic, and also just like 70s, 60s style sci-fi color scheme that they try to incorporate. And so it's very easy to draw those comparisons and wonder about why they went the same direction in terms of gameplay, in terms of building and trying to force resource management for the sake of exploration and what that means and who thought that would be fun slash relaxing in the first place and how it's actually profitable. And then we branch out to it is fun.
I don't know, it is relaxing. Like it's like resource management and shit like that and mining and shit. I don't know. For some weird ass fucking reason it is relaxing. And also irritating at the same time. Like I can't put this fucking ladder right here. Okay, there we go.
And then there's also just the influx of online only becoming a thing. As in, how long do you think we have before an online only game is actually nominated for an award at the Game Awards? Because it does seem like I feel like that being entered into the Game Awards would be like a comedy or a sci-fi movie going into the Oscars or not Grammys, but Oscars and Academy Awards. Rare, but not impossible, but still rare because of the nature of the genre it is. Do you think Apex Online could hold a candle to, or any really, really, really good multiplayer game, Apex Online being the most recent example, holding a candle to a really good single-player only game? Do you think there's even room for those sort of comparisons to be made?
Depends. So, like for example, let's say Battlefield 3 didn't have a campaign and it was just multiplayer. That multiplayer could probably stand up to a very good single player game. Maybe not like the best like Witcher or what people are now saying is like Red Dead 2, but putting it against maybe like fucking Skyrim or something, yeah, I'd probably beat that.
I really want to hypothetically sit in on a discussion / meeting of people that are on the board for that sort of award show, because trying to hear them differentiate between what makes a good game good and what qualities of that game they're picking to represent. I'm wondering how much of that is found in other forms of traditional media, like story, music, voice acting in general, and how much of that is exclusive to gaming as a medium in terms of gameplay. I wonder what the weight is when they're talking about that sort of thing.
Don't know.
Because I watched the Game Awards in December, and all the top ones in most categories were what you expect. The God of War, Red Dead 2, Spider-Man, and that made sense. But all those things that those games are hailed for, Red Dead in particular, was story and acting, music. But I don't think innovative gameplay is even considered as a category, if I remember correctly. So, it's interesting to see what is valued in a medium that would be able to have that sort of something only it can have, not be considered in an actual place where they're supposed to be critiquing. I don't know.
Dude, I'm at this planet just trying to get iron, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing on this planet still. I'm trying to
I
figure out
don't know what
something.
you're doing either. Try to figure out how to open up that pyramid thing.
Mhm.
Take
Will do.
like the medium generator to it.
Right. Is that close by, or is it in a certain direction? 'Cause I have
It's
no idea.
it's like it's so you go straight into that big hole and just follow the things, and it should be like
Right.
right there before you go into like your death area.
Coolio. Oh, that was the wrong button.
Bro, what the hell just fucking blew up there?
Did anything else interesting happen in Year of Our Lord 2019?
I mean, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just February.
I know it's just February, but we need to talk about New Year, New Us. Did you guys make any New Year's resolutions that you immediately dropped and didn't care for? Or were you already perfect?
I never made one, so
Yeah, I
Honestly,
don't know.
yeah, same.
Mine was like try and diet, but that's like hard.
What are your expectations for the year? You had to guess, since we're so early into it. What do you think is possible? What do you think is going to happen? because 2019 seems like it's shaping up to be interesting. We got the starts of campaigning with the 2020 elections coming by, so
Oh no.
that's gonna be interesting.
Please,
A
no.
presidential
I'm
election
not
in a
ready.
post-2016 America is gonna be fun to watch. What else? Are there any good games coming out this year?
Let's see. Division 2 comes out. Um, they're supposedly going to be revealing the new Xbox, I think people are saying.
Hmm.
But nothing ridiculous that I know of. I think a lot of it's getting saved for like next year.
That sounds about right. Are you gonna get the new Xbox, Michael? Or are you just
Yeah, probably.
you're not gonna shift to PC, skip this one, and just save up for the actual future, the place where you belong?
David, do you know how much money I have fucking in this game? Not game, but like in this fucking console.
Fair enough.
For me to transfer to PC financially, like if you look at it economically, I would be losing so much fucking money unless I sold my Microsoft account.
I mean, it's not like you're abandoning it. You still have your One X, but it'd just be like
That's
not
true.
going to.
I don't know. I'd probably have to
2x.
see what the actual upgrade is for it. Like if it's like, cause fucking hell, they're coming with like 8K TVs now.
Is that necessary? Do you think 8K?
They were showing off 8K on an Xbox One X at CES, and I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty cool. Like it's like more fine and shit kind of deal, like much sharper edges and everything. So I don't know. I know that they're leaning towards more of a service. So the next Xbox, from what I'm hearing, is that there'll be three options. There'll be the cheapest option will be like a service Xbox. So like you pretty much rent an Xbox. And so you rent like an Xbox, Game Pass, and Gold for like I don't even fucking know how much it was. It was like $30 a month or something like that. I can't fucking remember. And that's for like people that they don't know if they want to keep an Xbox. They're just trying it. They don't want to. They don't want to they don't want to just fork over like $500 all of a sudden and shit like that. And then there's like a second option, which is like there's no disc tray. I think they cut off $100 off the cost. Plus, I think there might be better performance with it. I can't remember what people were saying. And then the final cost would be you get pretty much everything with it. You get like the disc tray, you get whatever it is with the thing.
Right. Hmm. Do you think how much longer do you think console gaming has?
It's probably got a good bit, but seeing how they're getting closer and like at least Xbox is getting a lot closer to PC kind of now.
Hmm.
Because the X is pretty decently like the X is like a low tier PC is pretty much what it looks like.
Right.
While I don't think PlayStation is there yet at a PC level, like if it is, it's like minimum. But seeing how console is going now, consoles are probably going to be turned into PCs. Like hell, technically a console is a PC because you can actually fucking Google search on it. Or not really Google search, but fucking Bing search on Xbox.
Right. Very curious to see what decisions they decide to make going forward. Specifically, I want to see what Game Pass looks like in a year.
That's
Wanna
something I
see
really
what-
want to know. I want to know how the
Hmm.
fuck they make money off Game Pass. Like, because they straight up gave me fucking 2 months for free. I
Well,
paid
that's-
$1 so far
You're
for
very
fucking
unique.
Game Pass.
You're a unique use case. All of us,
I
the
paid
rest of us regular
one
human beings, are paying $10 a
fucking
month.
dollar for Game Pass in January, and then they're like, "Hey, you pre-ordered the Division. Here's 2 months for free." So I have it till fucking April now.
What I've heard is that game development is a very risky sort of process, especially even console development's in there as well. Since it's trying to game, you have a release window where you have to nail your popularity and your marketing to get a very, very, very strong initial sales boost, because it's just going to be tapering off the months and years afterwards. And so it's 5 years of work for a lot of games to make something that's a decent product, losing a lot of money, paying for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees for that amount of time, and then trying to get it all back in a go over the course of like a year, since that's when most of it's going to be made. Or you can try to do games as a service with all the online only stuff with loot boxes that have a continuous source of income, as opposed to doing it all at once. And so trying to, it looks better for investors, I think, based on what I've heard, and also sustaining a studio instead of laying off everybody after the job is done, like most game devs do.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Game Pass is just a way for Microsoft to have a consistent source of income, a la Netflix.
Again, I don't see income with it really. Oh shit. How did
Because
I
of the
do
price
this?
point, or
It's just like, for example, so all of Xbox's like pretty much first party games go to Game Pass immediately. Like it's like if you have fucking Game Pass, it's $10 a month and you're getting a $60 game with pretty much at least.
right?
So it's like it doesn't make any. You built a rover. What the fuck?
Mm,
Why did I get? I got an achievement for you building a rover.
I know.
Now Microsoft does have like a shit ton of money, so I guess they're allowed to do this kind of stuff.
I guess the question would be how many people are more willing to spend $10 a month and get the games that they normally wouldn't be too inclined to spend $60 on a single purchase to get.
Like it's a good okay. So the way I look at it is, if it's $10 a month, it's $120 that you're spending. So let's
Right.
say like it looks like every 2 years now a Gears comes out or something, or let's say there's at least 2 games on there that's an Xbox exclusive that you planned on buying anyway. That's $120 already just for those 2 games if you did not have Game Pass. So
Mhm.
you're getting your money back from what you would have bought, plus you have 100+ games that are at your disposal that you probably wouldn't have bought anyway, but because they're there, you're gonna play them, which they're pretty much free for you because you would have paid $120 for just those 2 games, but you paid $120 and now you have 100 of these games plus the 2 games you would have bought anyway. So it's like it's just a fucking like it's such an easy decision for Game Pass almost. If you plan on buying at least 2 Xbox exclusive games per year.
So you're right. So
So
I
like
guess
there's
the
a Forza
argument
game
is-
every year. So
Yeah.
if you liked Forza, that's at $60 right there. And then if like let's say I think Halo comes out like next year, I think. Like that's gonna be $60. Fucking
Yeah.
Game Pass will get it for you. Who knows? Maybe Obsidian's new game, what's it called? Outer Worlds might go to fucking Game Pass. I generally don't know on that one because it was being made before they were bought, or they're not even bought by Microsoft. They're partnered with Microsoft. They didn't get buy. So I don't know on that one.
they didn't buy Obsidian? I could have sworn
I
that
don't
was the
no,
article.
I don't think they bought them. I think they got partnered. I can't
Curious.
remember properly. Like, because Obsidian is still making so Outer Worlds is gonna be a AAA game. It's gonna be on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. So if Microsoft bought them, I feel like Microsoft would have been like Xbox only. Like, but I don't know. They might be letting us AAA titles because it might bring in more revenue for them. I don't know.
Right. So I searched it up on Wikipedia real quick. It says in November 2018, it was announced that the studio had been acquired by Microsoft and become part of Microsoft Studios.
So it says acquired.
If it's a part
See,
of Microsoft
it's-
Studios, if it's the part being a part of that gets me to think that it's
Bought.
yeah. That's the only reason I'm thinking that.
I don't know. It's really weird work. Jeez, I made a freaking solid fuel thruster. My game saved and like lagged the living shit out of me. Alright. How much shit do I have? I have 2 aluminum. Alright, so I just need to bring back like as much fucking hematite I need.
I mean, that's the only possible.
Okay, let me drop all this shit.
Michael, how'd you hear about Apex Legends? Because it came out of fucking nowhere for me.
Oh, so there's a guy on YouTube called The Quartering, and so he pops up my recommended sometimes because I don't know why. I like watching fucking just stupid shit that goes on in the gaming community. And him and Gungam fucking just go off on shit. And so he had an anonymous post from so he has like an anonymous line that he gets people to tell him about shit. And I guess there was an insider at EA or Respawn or somewhere that was like, hey, Respawn's gonna be announcing a free-to-play battle royale game on Monday, and it will be out that Monday as well. But they said that there was supposedly going to be announcements on Saturday about it, which it wasn't really announcements, but it was that the streamers were allowed to come out that were able to go that were flown to California and played it behind closed doors. They were allowed to talk about it on Saturday was the announcement. But then Monday rolled around and EA had this really stupid stream where it's like, oh, what is this? It's like these fucking pictures and shit they were like just showing, and everyone's like, we know what the fuck it is. Just give us the fucking game. But yeah, that's how I found out because it just popped up and it's like EA's new free-to-play Titanfall game? Question mark. And I was like, what now?
Get on them. They made a battle royale that was actually enjoyable.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
actually
happy.
like I saw it and I'm like, I'm probably not gonna play. I hate battle royale games. And then I was talking to somebody who has it, and he's like, "You gotta get it. It's actually really fun." And he started saying how like, he doesn't like battle royale games, and he sucks at it. But he's like, I enjoy this a lot. I'm like, fine, I'll fucking download it. I downloaded it. And I'm like, holy shit, yeah, it's like it's completely different than a battle royale game. I feel like almost because it's a lot more fast. It's like more fast paced. It's not as much sitting around. It's like
Yeah.
it's a much smaller map. There's no vehicles, and then it goes by a lot faster. And then you have like it's almost more it's more tactical because you have like these team-based things. They have like pinging systems which are actually really fucking cool.
Mm.
So someone actually asked BioWare saying, "Hey, can we get this in Anthem?" And they said, "We see what Respawn did and are very intrigued with it, and they hope to bring it to Anthem as well."
That'd be pleasant. There's so much in Apex Legends that I'm a fan of. Just when I first booted it up and I parachuted out randomly and I saw that there's the guy in charge and we would just auto jump with him and he had direction. That and all the teams had their own separate smoke colors trails behind them. There's a lot of
Mhm.
small stuff that actually made the battle royale problems tolerable.
You'll also hear your teammates sometimes say we're nowhere near the circle or something like that, or like your person will
Yeah.
say we're nowhere near the circle, which is pretty interesting. I think I have a feeling they're probably gonna nerf some classes such as Lifeline just because she can drop a fucking care package. Like it is so OP. Like I have a friend that fucking plays her and like it's just like as soon as you find a ultimate accelerator, you give it to Lifeline, and three of them she gets her super. It's like so fucking OP, and those things can drop like legendary stuff for you.
Mhm.
It's just like holy shit. Like I'm pretty sure we have won games because of that shit.
It's really convenient.
Shit,
Do you
that's
like
matter, I
the
hate
idea of
it.
classes being in a battle royale game like that?
It makes it more interesting. I don't know if I fully agree with how they did it though. Like one per team, because then it's like I want to play as that, but I can't play as that now. But there's certain things I don't like about the game, which is I don't like how fucking slow. What the fuck his face is? The fucking sumo wrestler looking guy.
With the big shields or someone else?
Yeah, yeah, the big shit. guy.
Gibraltar.
Yeah, he's so fucking slow. Like it is like just it's like painfully slow. Like how slow he is. Like you will die playing him just because how fucking slow he is. It just irritates the hell out of me. Like I had to play him as once, and I was like, I'm never playing against him again unless I have to get this fucking achievement to beat a game with him, which is never gonna happen.
Do you think it I can't talk. Do you think it offsets the utility of being tough and dropping shields though? Because I imagine that's the sort of archetype that happens a lot in other games. Is
He
low,
so
but beefy.
he doesn't have more health, I don't think, if I remember
Not more.
correctly at least.
Health, but I don't remember. I never played the character, but I think I read the description, the little thing that you can put in there. Isn't it also that gun shield that kind of blocks bullets, and also the actual drop shield?
Yeah, so he has a drop shield, and then he also has a bombardment he can throw, which is like Bangalores.
Right. I imagine there's a way to work with a team very well. Basically, it's hard to. There are certain characters in certain games that if you try to transfer over a very general skill set to them, it's not going to work out very well. That he might be one of those characters where you're not supposed to do your usual shooty, McShooty, but more so tank it like in a World of Warcraft game where you get attention and then your shooty, McShooty friends do their shooty, McShooty thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
if
don't
you,
know,
if
just
dying is a
irritates the hell
problem,
out of me a bit. It's not really dying. It's just more of along the lines of he's so fucking slow. Like you won't get like the better guns in time and shit like that.
right?
Like your fucking teammates, like if you're playing with randoms, your fucking teammates that are randoms will fucking get the shit before you do. Like fucking
So
every
maybe
fucking
like
time.
making general mobility speed higher, but also keeping the slowness for situations where you have to use a shield and make a very deliberate stance, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can see that working. Because it is a very mobile game in terms of getting around places. I'm glad it came out though. It was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it's a nice game to play.
The loot box system doesn't seem egregious either, because it just seems to very
Well,
definitive copy of Overwatch.
it's mostly Respawn who created the game. So like I believe what I've heard is that EA didn't really have any say in the game. It was mostly Respawn. And so you don't see that many microtransactions heavily is because of that, is what people are saying. They didn't want to really push that much on microtransactions. They wanted everything to be like, hey, you can actually get this. And then the loot box system is nice, which I think that's more on the lines because of the law system going into effects a lot now, and that the governments are now like hitting them hard. So they're like, hey, this loot box thing, we gotta actually give like a fucking bad luck insurance, as well as like show the probability of winning.
Can you see that, Apex?
Yep, if you go to the Apex pack page, it tells you what's your chance of getting a rare, legendary, the fuck it is, is it an epic? I can't fucking remember. But then it's like, if you get 30 packs with no legendaries, you automatically get a legendary in the next pack you have.
That's pleasant. Loot boxes are in a very weird place for a bit.
The thing about loot boxes is it all depends on how you handle it. So like, to me, I think Destiny has like a very, like, a lot of people don't like it. I think it's actually not bad due to the fact that you get 3 of those things like so fast on each character, like for the first week.
Yeah.
Like for the beginning of the week. And it's like all you need is fucking 3 anyway. Like hell, I haven't bought a single fucking thing in Destiny. I own almost every single fucking cosmetic item.
Yeah, if you really care, you can get most of the stuff in Destiny. The inclusion of bounties and also silver dust to just purchase stuff directly if it's in the pool for that week is nice. There's just so many different options.
There is one thing that people were very upset with Destiny though, with one of them, which is I think it's the Iron Banner emote, which you can only get by buying the Iron Banner shit, which people were not happy about.
It's a very interesting situation because on one side, there's still a random chance to get it though, right? Or was it you buy it, you get it?
No, you have to buy it. That's the only way to get it.
No, I mean not as in you. I know you can only buy it, you have to get it, but if you buy it, is there still only a chance that you can get it, or do you?
Oh
get
no,
it
you bought it. No, you bought it straight up.
Okay, well, it's weird, yeah, because I can definitely see the point of having something that's a set purchase, but at the same time, when you're juxtaposing it next to everything that is random chance and other people can still get it, even if it's something as, I guess, I'm trying to find the best, negligible as an emote, despite being a pretty pleasant emote based on what I've seen, it's still weird when you can get everything else that the game has to offer, but at the same time, you can get everything else that the game has to offer except for that one thing.
I'm still trying to find some more of this iron shit. I got like 6 stacks on me right now.
It's convenient. I'm holding down the base. Our rover has a trailer. The trailer has a solar panel because the rover needs power.
Okay, that's a random save game. Is that you saving the game?
I mean, I just got into the tractor, so maybe, but...
I think the tractor saves the game then.
Interesting. So I guess 2019 is going to be pretty okay. Think it's going to go...
Sure.
Overall impressions, Michael. Bad or good year?
It can't be worse than 2018.
It's a fair assumption. Can't wait for God and fate to prove you wrong.
David, I straight up fucking rolled my car, my grandmother died, and my fucking dog died. There's no fucking way 2019 can be worse.
Hold my beer. Says 2019. Hope it's not, but life has a way of surprising you. Best for both ways. Maybe it'll just be fantastic. Maybe you'll find the love of your life, get your dream home, your dream job, and everything coming up, Michael. And that 2020 seems to be the one that fucks your mouth off.
Great.
Who knows? Anything's possible. Year of our Lord 2019. Seems like a pretty decent place for our return. Michael, we're 2 months away from being a first year anniversary.
For what?
Is that our podcast? Started filming in April because it was spring break. You're a year older.
Really? I feel like I'm fucking 5 years older.
Happens. Being an internet sensation will do that to you.
I feel like
Well,
that's
here's
just what
looking forward.
2018 will do to you.
Well, you know. Good thing about 2018 is that can only happen once.
That's a very good point, actually.
And on that note, I think I'm going to call it here. Thanks for joining me, Michael. I think Jared disappeared into the ether for a bit, but he was here for the first half.
Mm.
I think earlier he mentioned how he was gone for a bit, but then went to go smoke weed and pet a dog, which seems like a very series of events for Jared. So, if you can all just be more like Jared this year, Roller 2019, I think we get a better place. Alright, appreciate it.